If 40 to 50% of people who are diagnosed with cancer on their way to their first chemotherapy treatment get nauseous on the drive over to their chemotherapy treatment because the doctor told them they're going to get nauseous. They're getting nauseous before the treatment. That tells us how powerful our mind really is. So then if 50% of those people get nauseous on their drive to their first chemotherapy treatment, why can't 50% of those people get healthy on their drive to work in anticipation of something great happening instead of something terrible happening? So then when you take a placebo for pain, and they've done this study over and over again, and even in some cases, they've told the people, we're giving you the placebo, and it still reduced their pain because it's not the conscious mind that's doing it. It's the subconscious mind that's been programmed, which means then they're making their own natural morphines. They're making their own natural anti-pain medications. So
that you can measure.
Yeah, you can measure that. We can make in tests with asthma. You can take children and you can give them an inhaler to reduce their asthma. And you can mix it with cinnamon. And every time they have an asthmatic reaction, they'll inhale this albuterol or a bronchial dilator, and they'll taste the cinnamon. But what they don't know is that each time they use the inhaler, they're diminishing the amount of the drug until they're just using cinnamon, and they're making their own antihistamines. You can take asthmatic people who have a high tendency for asthma, and you can have two different drugs, one drug to bring on the asthma and one drug to take the asthma away. You can tell the person you're going to give them the drug to take the asthma away, and you give them the drug that creates the asthma, and their asthma goes away because the thought is greater than the chemical. That's how powerful we are. So then, great theories, great dinner conversation, great inquiries, but really when the rubber meets the road, when people then have to actually do it, this is where it gets exciting, because now they have to step into that place where they're going to really begin to make substantial changes. And in the beginning, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot, just like anything you learn. You learn how to snowboard, you better be really conscious of what you're doing, and you're going to work really hard in the beginning until all of a sudden you figure it out. And once you figure it out, you're going to realize you're working way too hard, and it's going to get really easy. That's exactly what we're doing here. And so if we can measure those changes and show people that it's possible, magic number one leads to magic number two. We had in the placebo, I talk about a woman who had a condition called polycystic fibrodysplasia. It's a weakening of the very scaffolding of the bone matrix. She was abused as a child. She lived in fear. Of course, it created the very gene that got programmed that began to make a cheaper protein, and her bones broke, and she had all these fractures, and it took her 2.5 years to heal her condition. She doesn't have the condition in her bones. She doesn't have any evidence of fractures. All her blood markers and values are normal. Now, here's the beauty behind that. I wrote about her in that book. We did our event here in Munich in August. A woman came up, stood on the stage, and she said, I read the book. I had polycystic fibrodysplasia. My doctors told me I'd have this condition the rest of my life, that I would continue to break bones, to not do anything physical. I just came from my doctor. I did my meditation every day. I have no evidence of polycystic fibrodysplasia. That's a genetic condition that medical science says is not possible to heal. That's not one person that did it. Now it's two. Two should lead to three. Three should lead to four. Now we're starting to talk about true human potential. And now we're talking about no longer a theory. We're not talking philosophy. We're not talking, intellectual, analytical information. We're talking about practical information. So when you take that philosophical information and you apply it, you personalize it, you demonstrate it, it means you're going to have to modify your behavior in some way and have some new experience. Now, the experience then enriches the circuits in your brain that you understood philosophically, but then the end product of the experience is the emotion. Now you start to feel healthy, you start to feel whole. The moment you start to feel the emotion, you're teaching your body chemically to understand what your mind is intellectually understood. Now you're beginning to embody that philosophy. But it's not enough to do it once, because if it took you 25 years or 10 years or 5 years to create that disease, by the hormones of stress and the bad choices and the lifestyle. Keep knocking on the genetic door till you program the gene. Then it may take a little time then to knock on the genetic door to upregulate a new gene and downregulate an old gene, and begin to do it over and over again until you literally begin to make it innate. That you've done it so many times that neurochemically you condition your body to know how to do it as well as your mind. In other words, the mind and body become one. So we go from philosopher to initiate to master. From knowledge, experience to wisdom, from mind to body to soul, from thinking to doing to being. And that's what people around the world are interested in now. 10 years ago, when what the BLEEP came out and The Secret came out, it was great philosophy and everybody was excited about it. But then, the common questions that people asked in the panel discussions that I was on for both The Secret and the BLEEP was, how do you do it? This is a time in history, as I said, where people want to know how to do it. They want to apply it to their lives. And so in our workshops and events, when we talk, we give the teaching, the understanding, then person's pushed right into the experience. You understand it? Let's go. Let's see if you can do it.